Hey everyone, or as we say in the South, hey y'all. Okay, so I was asked to make a video on giving some tips on how someone who's just beginning to learn how to channel to strengthen up their clairs or strengthen up their connection to the other side. And I got 3 tips. And I believe that these 3 tips are the most important tips that anyone can have whenever starting to channel. And they're excellent tips. So the first tip that I like to tell everyone is that you have to trust. You have to trust that you're safe. You have to trust that you are receiving from Spirit. And you have to trust in yourself that you are sane, you're not crazy, and you're not making this up. Now, with being safe, I encourage anyone that anything that you can do to help you feel safe when you're connecting to the other side, go for it. Even if it's silly as having a water bottle. If having a water bottle makes you feel safe when connecting to the other side, then have it. Always have the water bottle by your side until you know without a shadow of a doubt that you are safe anytime that you are channeling. Nothing is too silly when it comes to someone's safety. For example, whenever I start channeling, I did automatic reading and I used the pendulum. And before I used the pendulum and before I did automatic reading, I said a prayer to Archangel Michael and Jesus and Gabriel and Raphael to all just protect the connection, protect the portal that was opening whenever I was using these spiritual tools. And then when I was done, I would say a prayer and I would say goodbye. And that is personally what made me feel safe. And then I got to a point, like I grew, where I knew that if I just set my tent, that say, I just want to talk to my grandpa. I knew that it was my grandpa my grandpa coming through because I felt safe and I felt secure enough in myself that I knew that I was only connected to him and only he was coming through. And then now I just say, all right, guys, I just want to talk to someone. And I know that someone for my highest good is coming through because the tent has already been set. It's already set within myself that no matter who I'm talking to is for my highest good. Another tip to help you feel safe is that, say, if you're connecting and you connected to someone that you don't want to talk to, it's best to remain calm, remain secure in yourself, and just tell them goodbye. It's like telling the neighbor that you really don't want to talk to right now, goodbye. Oh, I really don't want to talk to you. Goodbye. And you don't have to worry about being rude with them. And they'll say goodbye and they'll leave. And then if you connected to someone that you don't want to talk to and you still feel like that maybe they might be hanging around, do a house clearing. A house clearing could be done with sage, or it could be done with holy water, or it could be done with your tent. However you do that house clearing ritual is good for you. And if you don't know how to do one, there is loads of information you can find online. You have to trust that you're receiving from Spirit. Personally, when I began, I didn't trust that I was receiving. I was like, is this me? Is this Spirit? What am I connecting to? Like, this is so weird. So, how I actually confirmed that I was actually talking to Spirit and I wasn't talking to myself is at a pendulum. And anytime I asked a question, well, I had to make this one because my other one, Spirit, decided that I didn't need a pendulum anymore because I'm very well connected now, or I trust the connection well enough now that I don't need this. So they kind of hid it from me and I can't find anywhere. But so what I did is this was a necklace I bought last year and I got a piece of string and I just tied it and I made the pendulum. And so I would ask one of my spirit guides to come through. Like one of them is coming through now. And I used the pendulum and I used the pendulum board. So whenever I got an answer when I wasn't using the pendulum, I'd be like, am I going to have a good day? I would ask just silly questions like that. Am I going to have a good day? And then I would get the answer yes, in multiple forms of how I receive it through my clairs, which I will go through how to receive answers through clairs in another video. And I go, okay, I just got the answer yes. Was that guides for my highest good coming through tell me that yes, I'm gonna have a good day? And they would, for me, the pendulum goes this way for yes, and then this way for no. But for someone else, it might be different. Now, if you don't know how to use the pendulum, there is thousands of websites on the internet, and if you don't know which one to trust, you can email me at jlcarpenter86@gmail.com, and I will point you to a very good source of information on how to use one of these. And then the next thing is trust yourself that you're sane, you're not going crazy, and you're not making this up. Now, this takes a little bit of blind faith, because you really don't know if you're sane, or you really don't know if you're going crazy. But that's kind of like in many religions, they're talking to Buddha, or they're talking to they're talking to Jesus, they're talking to God, and they really don't know if they're talking to God, and they really don't know if they're talking to Jesus, but they have this blind faith. They cannot see it, but they have this faith that they are connecting and that they are listening, and you have to have that kind of faith. Now, the second tip that I can give someone for starting out is have fun. I mean, not everything has to be serious. You don't have to go in and automatically be able to connect and answer questions like, what is my twin flame? What is my soulmate? How am I going to die? I mean, those are important but stressful questions, and I would not answer any of those when I first began. So, having fun, just have fun, make up games. One of the things that I did is I asked spirits to send me dirty jokes. All right, guys, it's Dirty Joke Day. Let's send me all the dirty jokes that you could send me. When I was at work, I was at the park, and I knew that if I got a dirty joke, then it was coming from one of the spirits or one of the guides that I had. And that was the most fun, because then I was able to feel, and I was able to really look at, okay, so if I had to stop for a second and think of this joke, then this would take a little bit longer, but this was just automatically, it was sent to me. It was automatically in my head. I didn't have to think of it. And it gave me a great way to show me of when I was making it up and when I was not making it up, because sometimes I was just not in a dirty joke mood, but then a dirty joke would just pop in my head. I'm like, well, this is weird. I'm just mad today. Why am I thinking of dirty jokes? And I'm like, oh yeah, because I actually sent me dirty jokes. And then I was able to really just stop and be present in the moment, even if it's for a second, and realize, okay, well, this is how I feel whenever they send me jokes. And this is how I don't feel whenever they don't send me dirty jokes. And so that really helped me a lot. I would also take spirits on shopping trips with me. And I would go, okay, well, I can't make up my mind today. What do I want? Do I want apples or do I want oranges? And then, because I have audio, clear audio, they would say oranges. Or I have visual, so if I was connecting to the visual, they would show me a picture of an orange. Or if I'm also empathic, so if I had apples or oranges, I would feel more inclined to have the oranges. And so that really helped a lot too. It didn't mean I had to get some orange, but it was a way of me filling out when they were sending it to me and when I was not, and helping me trust that I was getting the right connection. Just playing little games like that. And I just, any games that you could play with spirits, so just take them on adventures with you. I'd be like, guys, isn't this so beautiful? And you can just receive the answer from them. And it's not stressful. It's not like it's a life or death question for someone. The third tip that I can give is learn hands-on. You can practice on family and friends, and they may not even be aware of it. Like if they're like down and out, you can say, well, you can ask your spirits like in your head, because they can hear what's in your head, and you can be like, or they can have a good day, and then they'll say the words yes or no, and then sometimes they'll say no, but if they say yes, you can say, oh, but you're gonna have a great day. Or if not, they say, no, you're not, but it's your teacher's going to be in a bad mood, so be aware of this. So if you're aware of this, your teacher's in a bad mood, and it's going to affect your day a little bit. Maybe it might make their day better. And they'll come back and be like, you know what, Mom, you was right. My teacher was in a bad mood. And, I mean, that's a great way to connect to practice of family and friends. Or you can possibly, like, say, hey, I just learned that I can channel, and if you're open to this, always make sure they're open and willing. Because if they're not open and willing to be able to talk, if not open and willing, whenever you're saying, hey, I can channel and I want to connect to your dead husband, it's not going to work, because they're shutting down connection on their end. So whenever you're talking to someone's deceased relative or their passed on loved one, they can shut down the connection, because what happens is you're connecting to their energy, and you're connecting to their energy to connect to that person. And so it's a mixture of your energy, their energy, and the spirit's energy. So if that person doesn't want to connect, the connection gets shut down immediately. So always make sure they're willing and open. And say, hey, I just learned that I can channel, and I just want to practice passing on some messages from your deceased husband. And then you can describe how they look in spirit life. You can say, oh, yes, they're in heaven. Or, whatever answers you get from the spirit, you can answer like that. You can also join free Facebook reading groups. But I used to do a lot of those and do a lot of readings. And what you learn, if you're not good with boundaries, you will learn some really good boundaries in these groups, because a lot of the people it's like they're desperate for answers. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm just going to say that some people in there are desperate for, they come across as if they're desperate for answers. So if you get one thing right, then they want another question, and they want another question, and they want another question. And so you learn real quickly how to set boundaries and say no. Like, if you've answered 2 or 3 questions and you've got to the point where, like, I really don't want to answer more questions, you do not have to answer any more questions. You can set that boundary. And if they're badging you, or they're like messaging you, hey, I want a free reading. Because once people, from my experience, once people realize that you can get good answers, and they're truthful answers, and it seems like you're really connecting to the other side to them, they will message you, hey, I like a free reading. And you don't have to do it. You really don't. It helps really set the boundaries. And then it also gets you good feedback, because if you're coming across like you're truthful and you're really connecting to the other side, which you really are if you're doing it at this point. But in their perception mind, if it seems that way to them, they will start messaging you, or they'll start asking questions on top of questions on top of questions. And that's really good feedback. You can actually ask them for really good feedback. Like if you went to go describe a husband, and a horse came through, or a donkey came through, and you'd be like, your husband owned a donkey. Well, that may not... They may be like, no, but then later you go to find out after talking with this person that their husband was really just an asshole. So maybe that donkey was really just a symbol for the word ass, but that's how it came across in your mind. So it really just helps you. I mean, there's good with those, but then there's that bad, because I mean, you could be just bugged all the time if you don't have set boundaries. So if you got really good boundaries, but it's I recommend it either way. So no matter what, I mean, you can look at it as a good thing, or you can look at it as a bad thing, but I just recommend it. And then keep a journal, like for example, whenever relatives come through, I really don't feel like if it's a grandpa or uncle or whatever, but I get that's a male energy. So whenever I have a strong male energy come through, then I know it's grandpa, it's uncle, it's brother, it's something that it's a male energy that's connected to that person. And so what I did is I journaled that and I wrote that down. Anytime that I got an answer that didn't make sense from the spirit from the other side, I wrote it down. Like, today I asked Spirit if I was going to have a good day, and I got a sunshine. But then I wrote the sunshine down, and then I went back and reflected on my day, and I was like, oh, well, I had a really good day today, and it was bright and it was pretty. So maybe the sun means good or bright. In my mind, maybe that's the symbol for that. And that really helps. And then if you assign, say like if you have a uh, visual clair, or if you have audio clair, well, let's start with the visual clair. If you have a visual clair, like I used to assign thumbs up for yes and thumbs down for no, because I can tell the difference in my mind. I also did green light, like you like a stoplight. So a green light on top would be yes, and a red light on bottom would be no, because I could see that usually the difference in that in my mind, right? Or, in my third eye, in my mind. So I also did that too. And I kept a journal, so I knew that meant yes and that meant no. And then I would write down the answers I would get, so if something changed, like if one day I got yes and then the other day I got no, then I could see why I got yes or why I got a no. Because whenever you're channeling and you get yes and get a no, it can really break up your confidence. It can, I know it did that. Well, it did that for me. It broke up my confidence. I was like, why did I get yes and then all of a sudden I get a no? And I didn't really understand why. I thought, personally, I was getting the wrong answers. And come to find out, I wasn't giving the wrong answers. What really was going on is that energy was changing. So today was yes, because that person, like, say the person says, am I going to get a new car soon? And I got a yes. But let's say they went out that night because they knew they got a yes, and they went and spent all their money they saved. And then they asked the next day, am I going to get a new car? And all of a sudden the answer was no. Well, what I changed between the yes and the no is that they spent all their money. So the answer now is going to be no, that they're not going to get the new car. Or maybe the person who is deciding if they need to get the loan or not, say the bank, you went to the bank and I got, yes, it's highly likable that you're going to get this loan. But then the person on the other side was still in decision making. So the prospects was looking good, like the opportunity's open, so the answer is going to be yes. But then the person decided, no, their credit's just, I really don't trust that they're going to do it, so it's a no. And so the next day I got a no. So the difference is that the bank at that time had maybe not decided, so the opportunities were good and go, and I got a yes. But then the bank had decided, and it was a no, so today it was a no. So it really helped me see that I was never getting wrong answers. It's just that the energy was changing, because future is never set in stone. And these are really the 3 most important tips that I can give anyone who is wanting to strengthen up their clairs. Now, in the future, I'll be making videos where I describe each clair on how I strengthen up each clair individually. I don't know why I do that, just doing it. But yeah, so y'all have a safe and fun day, and I will talk to y'all in the future.